Vanakkam. Myself, I am Yoganandam. I have been working as a biology lecturer. In today's class, we are going to discuss about one of the important topic from 12th standard biology, that is principles of inheritance and variation. Before going to the topic, those who are watching our YouTube channel, you are requested to like, subscribe and share to your friends. At the same time, you are requested to comment also. Before going to the topic, so you try to remember some important terms which are given from this topic. First, you must know what is genetics. Genetics deals with the inheritance as well as the variation of characters from parents to offsprings. Inheritance is the process by which characters are passed on from parent to progeny. It is the basis of heredity. Variation, what do you know about variation? Variation is the degree by which progeny differ from their parents. It is called as variation. Try to remember. Genetics, study of inheritance, heredity and variation of characters, or study of genes and chromosomes. Inheritance is transmission of characters from parents to progeny. It is the basis of heredity. Then what is variation? Differences between parents and offspring. Then what do you know about characters? A heritable feature among the parents and offspring. Example, eye color. Then what do you know about trait? Trait is variants of a character. Example, brown eye, blue eye. Then what do you know about alleles or allelomorphs? Alleles are alternative forms of a gene. For example, capital T represent tall, small t represent dwarf, or two alleles of a gene for the character of height. Then what do you know about homozygous and heterozygous? Homozygous is the condition which chromosome pair carries a similar alleles of a gene, also known as pure line. It is always called as a true breeding. Capital T, small t, capital Y, small y, etc. It is similar alleles. Heterozygous means the condition in which the chromosome pair carries dissimilar alleles of a gene. It is capital T, capital Y, small y, etc. So you try to understand what is homozygous, what is heterozygous. Then what do you know about the dominant character and recessive character? The character which is expressed in heterozygous condition, it indicates with capital letter, is called as dominant character. The character which is suppressed in heterozygous condition, it indicates with a smaller letter. Then phenotypic and genotypic. Phenotypic is a physical expression of a character, that is a morphological character. Genotype is a genetic constituent of a character. Hybrid is an individual produced by mating of genetically unlike parents. You know, humans knew from early as 8000 to 1000 BC that one of the cases of variation was hidden in sexual reproduction. They exploited the variations that were naturally present in the wild population of plants and animals to selectively breed and select for organisms that possessed desirable characters. For example, through artificial selection and domestication for ancestral wild cows, we have well-known Indian breeds, example Sahiwal cows in Punjab. We must, however, recognize that though our ancestors knew about the inheritance of characters and variation, they had very little idea about the scientific basis of these phenomena. Let's discuss about Mendel's laws of inheritance. It was during mid-19th century that headway was made in the understanding of inheritance. Gregor Mendel conducted hybridization experiments on garden pea plant, that is Pisum sativum is the botanical name of pea plant. So almost he has conducted 7 years his experiment from 1856 to 1863 and proposed the laws of inheritance in living organisms. During Mendel's investigations into inheritance pattern, it was for the first time that statistical analysis and mathematical logic were applied to problems in biology. His experiments had a large sampling size which gave greater credibility to the data that he collected. Mendel investigated characters in the garden pea plant that were manifested as two opposing traits. Example, tall and dwarf plant, yellow and green seeds. So refer the diagrammatic representation. Mendel conducted such artificial pollination, cross-pollination experiments using several true breeding pea lines True breeding lines is one that, having undergone continuous self-pollination, shows the stable trait, inheritance, and expression for several generations. Mendel selected there are 14 true breeding pea plant varieties, that is, except for one character with contrasting traits. Some of the contrasting traits selected were smooth or wrinkled seeds, yellow seeds, smooth or inflated pods, green or yellow pods, and tall or dwarf plants. So that everything is given in the tabular column. Out of the 7 pairs of contrasting characters, he has taken it in account for his experiment. Then let us discuss about the inheritance of one gene. Let us take the example of one such hybridization experiment carried out by Mendel, where he crossed tall and dwarf pea plant to study the inheritance of one gene. Refer the diagrammatic representation. He collected the seeds produced as a result of this cross and grew them into generate plants of first hybrid generation. This generation is also called as first filial generation or first filial progeny or F1. Mendel observed that all the F1 progeny plants were tall like one of its parent, none were dwarf. Refer the diagrammatic representation. He made similar observations for other pairs of traits. He found that the F1 always resembled either one of the parent and that the trait of the other parent was not seen in them. Mendel then self-pollinated the F1 plants and to his surprise found that in the F2 generation, that is second filial generation, some of the offsprings were dwarf. The character that was not seen in F1 generation was now expressed. The proportion of plants that were dwarf were 1/4 of the F2 plants, while 3/4 F2 plants were tall. It is 75% tall, 25% dwarf. The tall and dwarf traits were identical to their parents' type and did not show any blending. That is, all the offsprings were either tall or dwarf, none were between height. Similar results were obtained with the other traits that he studied. Only one of the parental trait was expressed in the first filial generation, while at the second filial generation, that is F2 generation, both the parental character expressed in the ratio of 3:1. The contrasting trait did not show any blending at either F1 or F2 generations. Based on these observations, Mendel proposed that something was being stably passed down, unchanged from parent to offspring through the gametes over successive generations. He called these things are generally called as factors. Now we call them as genes. Genes, therefore, are the units of inheritance. They contain the information that is required to express a particular trait in an organism. Genes, which code for pair of contrasting traits, are known as alleles. They are slightly different forms of the same gene. If we use alphabetical symbols for each gene, then the capital letter is used for trait expressed at the first filial generation and the small alphabet for the other trait. For example, in case of the character height, capital T is used for tall trait and small t is used for dwarf, and capital T and small t are alleles of each other. Hence, in plants, the pair of alleles for height would be capital T, capital T, capital T, small t, or small t, small t. Mendel also proposed that in a true breeding tall or dwarf pea variety, the allelic pair of genes for height are identical or homozygous, capital T and small t respectively. Capital T and small t are called the genotype of, that is genotype of plant, while the descriptive terms tall and dwarf are the phenotype. What then would be the phenotype of plant that had genotype capital T, small t? As Mendel found the phenotype of F1 heterozygote capital T, small t to be exactly like the capital T parent in appearance, he proposed that in a pair of dissimilar factors, one dominates the other as in F1 generation and hence is called the dominant factor while other factors are recessive. In this case, the capital T, that is for tallness, is dominant over small t, dwarfness, that is recessive. He observed identical behavior for all the other characters, trait pairs that is studied. It is a convenient, that is logical to use the capital and lowercase of an alphabetical symbol to remember this concept of dominance and recessiveness. Do not use capital T for tall and D for dwarf, because you will find it difficult to remember whether capital T and D are alleles of the same character or same gene or not. Alleles can be similar as in the case of homozygous, that is capital T and small t, or can be dissimilar as in the case of heterozygote, capital T small t. Since the capital T small t plant is heterozygous for genes controlling one character, that is height, it is monohybrid, and the cross between capital T and small t is monohybrid cross. From the observation that the recessive parental trait is expressed without any blending in the F2 generation, we can infer that when the tall and dwarf plant produce gametes, by the process of meiosis, the alleles of the parental pair separate or segregate from each other, and only one allele is transmitted to a gamete. This segregation of alleles is a random process, and so there is 50% chance of gamete containing either allele has been verified by the result of crossings. In this way, the gamete of tall capital T plants have the allele capital T, and the gametes of the dwarf small t plants have the allele small t. During fertilization, the two alleles capital T from one parent, say through the pollen, and small t from the other parent, then through the egg, are united to produce zygote that have one capital T allele and one small t allele. In other words, the hybrids have capital T small t, since these hybrids contain alleles which expresses contrasting traits. The plants are heterozygous. The production of gametes by parents, the formation of zygotes, the F1 and F2 plants can be understood from a diagram called as Punnett square. Try to remember that the tabular column shown in the figure. It was developed by British genetist Reginald C. Punnett. It is a graphical representation to calculate the probability of all possible genotypes of offsprings in a genetic class. The possible gametes are written on two sides, usually the top row and left columns. All possible combinations are represented in boxes below in the squares, which generates a square output form. The Punnett square shows the parental tall, that is capital T male, and dwarf small t female plants. The gametes produced by them and the F1 generation capital T small t progeny. The F1 plants of genotype capital T small t are self-pollinated. The symbols, that is female and male symbols, are used to denote the female and male, there is egg and pollen of the F1 generation respectively. The F1 plants of the genotype capital T small t, when self-pollinated, produces gametes of the genotype capital T and small t in equal proportion. When fertilization takes place, the pollen grains of genotype capital T have 50% chance to pollinate eggs of the genotype, that is capital T, as well as genotype small t, as pollen grains of genotype small t have 50% chance of pollinating eggs of genotype capital T as well as genotype small t. As a result of random fertilization, the resultant zygotes can be the genotypes capital T, small t, or small t. From the Punnett square, it is easily seen that 1/4 of the random fertilization lead to capital T, that is 1/2 lead to capital T small t, and 1/4 to small t. Though the F1 have a genotype capital T small t, but the phenotypic characters seen is tall. At F2, that is 3/4 of the plants are tall, where some of them are capital T, while others are capital T small t. Externally, it is not possible to distinguish between the plants with the genotype capital T and capital T small t, Hence, within the genotypic pair, capital T, small t, only one character, that is capital T, tall, is expressed. Hence, the character capital T or tall is said to dominate over the other allele, small t or dwarf character. It is thus due to this dominance of one character over the other that all the F1 are tall through the genotype is capital T, small t, and in F2 generation 3 by 4th of the plants are tall. That is, though the genotypically 1 by 2 are capital T, small t, and only 1 by 4th are capital T, capital T. This leads to the phenotypic ratio of 3 by 4th tall, that is 1 by 4 capital T, 1 by 2 capital T, small t, and 1 by 4th small t. The ratio of 3 is to 1, but is the genotypic ratio is 1 is to 2 is to 1. The 1 by 4, 1 by 2, 1 by 4 ratio of capital T, small t is mathematically condensable to form a binomial expression, that is ax plus by square, that has the gametes bearing genes capital T or small t in equal frequency of 1 by 2. The expression is expanded as given below. Refer, that is very clearly given. Then Mendel self-pollinated the F1 plants and found that the dwarf F2 plants continue to generate dwarf plants in F3 and F4 generations. He concluded that the genotype of the dwarfs was homozygous, that is small t. What do you think he would have got at he self-pollinated a tall F2 plant? From the preceding paragraph, it is very clear, try to remember that though the genotypic ratios can be calculated using mathematical probability, by simply looking at the phenotype of dominant trait, it is not possible to know the genotype composition. That is, for example, whether a tall plant from F1 or F2 has capital T or capital T, small t composition cannot be predicted. Therefore, to determine the genotype of tall plant at F2 generation, Mendel crossed the tall plant from F2 generation with dwarf plant. This is called as test cross. So in a typical test cross, an organism, that is pea plants here showing the dominant phenotype and whose genotype is to be dominated is crossed with the recessive parent instead of self-crossing. The progenies of such a cross can easily be analyzed to predict the genotype of the test organism. It is very clearly given with the help of diagrammatic representation. Try to remember, shows the result of typical test cross where violet color flower W is dominant over white color flower small w. Using Punnett square, try to find out natural offsprings of a test cross. What ratio did you get? That you try to do yourself. So using the genotypes of this cross, can you give a general definition for a test cross? What is a test cross? What is back cross? Try to remember, test cross is nothing but F1 hybrids were crossed with pure breeding recessive parent is called as test cross. The same F1 hybrids were crossed with any one of the pure breeding parent is called as back cross. Based on his observations on monohybrid cross, Mendel proposed there are two general rules to consolidate his understanding of inheritance in monohybrid crosses. Today these rules are called as principles of laws of inheritance. The first law or law of dominance and the second law is law of segregation. Let us discuss about law of dominance. What do you know about law of dominance? The characters are controlled by discrete units called as factors. Factors occur in pairs. In a dissimilar pair of factors, one member of the pair dominate, that is a dominant, and the other is recessive. The law of dominance is used to explain the expression of only one of the parental character in a monohybrid cross in the F1 generation and the expression of both F2 generation. It is also explains the proportion of 3:1 obtained at the F2 generation. So according to law of dominance, so only one of the parental character expressed in the first filial generation the dominant character is expressed in heterozygous condition also, but recessive character expressed only in homozygous condition. Then let us discuss about law of segregation. This law is based on the fact that the alleles do not show any blending and that both the characters are recovered as such in the F2 generation through one of these is not seen in the F1 stage. Though the parent contains two alleles during gamete formation, the factors or alleles of a pair segregate from each other such that a gamete receives only one of the two factor. Of course, a homozygous parent produces all gametes that are similar while the heterozygous or heterozygous one produces two kinds of gametes each having one allele with equal proportion. So you try to remember based on monohybrid class he proposed there are two laws. The first one is law of dominance, second one is law of segregation. So in order, let us discuss about the next topic, non-Mendelian inheritance. So as per the Mendelian concept, only the parental characters are inherited from one generation to another generation. Due to the development of technology, scientists were identified in some organisms. Both the parental character held together form certain new characters. So that and all are generally called as deviations of Mendelian inheritance. That is Mendelian rules that altogether placed under the topic non-Mendelian inheritance. Here there are 5 examples are given for non-Mendelian inheritance. First one is incomplete dominance, second one is codominance, third one is multiple allelism, fourth one is polygenic inheritance, the fifth one is pleiotropy. Let us discuss about one by one. First we will discuss about incomplete dominance. So, as per the Mendelian concept, the parental combination only, any one of the dominant character expressed in the first filial generation. When the experiments on peas were repeated using other plants, that is other traits in other plants, it was found that sometimes the F1 had phenotype that did not resemble either of two parents and was in between the two. So as per the Mendelian concept, out of two parent, one of the parental character expressed in the first filial generation. So that is a dominant character here. But in some plants, as both the parental character held together form intermediate character. The inheritance of flower color in dog flower, it is generally called as snapdragon or antirhinum species, is a good example to understand incomplete dominance. In a cross between true breeding red flower, that is represented as capital R, and true breeding white flower denotes small r. The F1 capital R, small r was the pink. Refer the diagrammatic representation. When the F1 was self-pollinated, even in the F2 generation, the following ratio, that is capital R is 1, that is red color, capital R, small r, that is 2 in number, pink color, smaller, that is white in color, 1 in number. Here the genotypic ratio were exactly as we would expect in any Mendelian monohybrid class, but the phenotypic ratio had changed from the 3:1, that is dominant recessive ratio. What happened was the capital R was not completely dominant over small r, and this made it is possible to distinguish capital R, small r as pink from capital R, red, and small r, white. So what is the reason? So some alleles dominant and some alleles may be recessive. To tackle these questions, we must understand what a gene does. Every gene, as you know by now, that contains the information to express a particular trait. In a diploid organism, there are 2 copies of each gene that is a pair of alleles. Now, these 2 alleles need not always be identical as in heterozygote. One of them may be different due to some changes that it has undergone, that is about which you will read further on and in the next chapter that we are going to discuss. which modifies the information that a particular allele contains. Let us take an example of gene that contains the information for producing an enzyme. Now there are two copies of gene, the two alleles from, let us assume, as in one normal allele produces the normal enzyme that is needed for the transformation of a substrate. Yes, theoretically the modified allele could be responsible for the production of the normal or less efficient enzyme or a non-functional enzyme or no enzyme at all. So in this first case, the modified allele is equivalent to the unmodified allele. It will produce the same phenotypic trait, result in the transformation of substrate. Yes, such equivalent allele pairs are very common, but if the allele produces a non-functional enzyme or no enzyme, the phenotype may be affected. The phenotype trait will only be the dominant on the functioning of the unmodified allele. The unmodified, that is functioning allele, which represent the original phenotype, is the dominant allele, and the modified allele is generally the recessive allele. Hence, in the example above, the recessive trait is seen due to non-functional enzyme or because of no enzyme is produced. Let us go for another important topic, that is codominance. So till now we were discussing crosses where the F1 resemble either of the two parents, that is a dominance, or was in between, that is incomplete dominance. But in the case of codominance, the F1 generation resembles both the parents. A good example is different types of blood cells that determine ABO blood grouping in human beings. ABO blood groups are controlled by the gene I. The plasma membrane of red blood cells has sugar polymers that protrude from its surface, and the kind of sugars controlled by the gene. The gene I, as there are three alleles, I power A, I power B, and I. The alleles I power A and I power B produce slightly different form of sugar, while allele I does not produce any sugar, because humans are diploid organisms. Each person possesses any two of the three I gene alleles. I power A and I power B are completely dominant over I. In other words, when I power A and I are present, only I expresses, because of I does not produce any sugar. And when I power B and I are present, I power B only expresses, as same like I power A. But when I power A and I power B are present together, they both expresses their own types of sugars. So this is because of codominance. Both I power A and I power B, A and B both are dominating over, so it is called as codominance. Hence, red blood cells have both A and B types of sugar. Since there are three different alleles, there are 6 different combinations of these three alleles that are possible, and therefore a total 6 different genotypes of human ABO blood types, that is very clearly given with the help of tabular column. You try to remember when does the I power A is expressed, when does the I power B is expressed, when does the I power A and B together expressed. Okay, that everything very clearly given with the help of tabular column. Then let us go for multiple alleles. Do you realize that the example of ABO blood grouping also provides a good example of multiple alleles? Here you can see that there are more than 2 or 3 alleles governing the same character, since in an individual only 2 alleles can be present. Multiple alleles can be found only when a population studies are made. Okay, you try to remember. Occasionally, a single gene product may produce more than one effect. For example, starch size in pea seeds is controlled by one gene. It has 2 alleles, that is capital B and small b. Starch is synthesized effectively by capital B homozygotes, and therefore a large starch grains are produced. In contrast, small b homozygotes have lesser efficiency in starch synthesis and produce smaller starch grains. After maturation of the seeds, capital B seeds are round and small b seeds are wrinkled. Heterozygous produce round seeds, and so capital B seems to be the dominant allele, but the starch grains produced are the intermediate size in capital B small b seeds. So if starch grain size is considerable as the phenotype, then from this angle the alleles show incomplete dominance. So therefore dominance is not an autonomous feature of gene or the product that it has information for. It depends as much on the gene product and the production of a particular phenotype from this product as it does not on the particular phenotype that we choose to examine, in case more than one phenotype is influenced by the same gene. So you try to remember which are the things we have discussed from this topic. We have then we will continue the another important topic, inheritance of two genes, or it is always called as dihybrid cross. Mendel also worked with the cross pea plants that are different in two characters, as seen in the cross between a pea plant that has seeds with yellow color and round shape, and one of that had seeds of green color and wrinkled shape. So that is given with the help of a diagrammatic representation. See the flow chart. Mendel found that the seeds resulting from the crossing of parents had yellow colored and round shaped seeds. Here, can you tell which of the character in the past yellow, green color and round wrinkled shape was dominant? Thus, yellow color was dominant over green and round shape dominant over wrinkled. These results were identical to those that he got when he made separate monohybrid crosses between yellow and green seeded plants and between round and wrinkled seeded plants. Let us use the genotypic symbols capital Y for dominant yellow seed color and small y for recessive green seed color, capital R for round shaped seeds and small r for wrinkled seed. The genotype of parents can then be written as capital R, capital R, capital Y, and small r, small y, small y. The cross between the two plants can be written down as in figure, that is refer the diagrammatic representation shown the genotype of the parent plants. The gametes capital R, capital Y and small r, small y unite on fertilization to produce the F1 hybrid. It is a combination of capital R, capital Y, small y. When Mendel self-fertilized the F1 plants, he found that 3 by 4th of F2 plants had yellow seeds and 1 by 4th had green color. The yellow and green color segregated in 3:1 ratio. Round and wrinkled sheet shape also segregated in the ratio of 3:1, just like in a monohybrid cross. So refer the diagrammatic representation. So based on the diagrammatic representation, you can able to understand very clearly. So which are the things they are given about a dihybrid cross? How does the cross made in between round yellow and wrinkled green seeds? Based on that is a dihybrid cross, he proposed law of independent assortment. In the dihybrid cross, that is given in the form of diagrammatic representation, the phenotypes round yellow, wrinkled yellow, yellow, round, green and wrinkled green appeared in the ratio of 9:3:3:1. Such a ratio was observed for several pairs of characters that Mendel studied. The ratio of 9:3:3:1 can be derived as a combination of series of 3 yellow, 1 green with 3 round, 1 wrinkled. This derivation can be written as follows: 3 round, 1 wrinkled, 3 yellow, 1 green is equal to 9 round yellow, 3 wrinkled yellow, 3 round green, 1 wrinkled green. So you try to remember that ratio is very clearly given. Based upon such observation on dihybrid crosses, it is crosses between plants differing in two traits, Mendel proposed a second set of generalizations that we call Mendel's law of independent assortment. The law states that when two pairs of traits are combined in a dihybrid, that is hybrid, segregation of one pair of character is independent of other pair of character. The Punnett square can be effectively used to understand the independent segregation of two pairs of genes during meiosis and the production of egg and pollen in F1. Capital R, capital Y, small y plant. Consider the segregation of one pair of gene capital R and small r. 50% of the, that is 50% of the gametes have the gene capital R and the other 50% have small r. Now besides each gamete having either capital R or small r, it should also have the allele capital Y or small y. The important thing to remember here is the segregation of 50% capital R and 50% small r is independent from the segregation of 50% capital Y and 50% small y. Therefore, 50% of the small r bearing gametes as capital Y and other 50% as small y. Similarly, the 50% of capital R bearing the gametes of capital Y and other 50% is small y. Thus, there are 4 genotypes of gametes. There are 4 types of pollens and 4 types of eggs. So the 4 types are capital R, capital Y, capital R, small r, capital Y, and small r, small y, each with a frequency of 25% of, that is 1/4 of total gametes produced. When you write down the 4 types of eggs and pollens on the 2 sides of the Punnett square, it is very easy to understand to derive the composition of zygotes that gives rise to the F2 plants. So refer the Punnett square that is very clearly given. Although there are 16 squares, how many different types of gametes and phenotypes are formed, that clearly given with the help of tabular column, with the help of Punnett square. Note them down in the format given. So totally there are, so how many plants were produced, F2 generation, that you try to remember the ratio of 9:3:3:1. So what are the different characters so that were formed, that also given very clearly with the help of tabular column. What is the color of 9? Round yellow, 3 round green, 3 wrinkled yellow, 1 is wrinkled green. So totally there are 16 plant species were produced at the end of the F2 generation in the ratio of 9:3:3:1. So try to remember.
லைக் பண்ணுங்க, ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க, கமெண்ட் பண்ணுங்க, சப்ஸ்கிரைப் பண்ணுங்க. நன்றி, வணக்கம்.